ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Zdrojewski, and I am currently, I'll pull up the screen here so you got my contact stuff. I am now the K-12 Director of Instructional Technology as of 6 weeks ago at the Oakfield-Alabama School District. Prior to that, the last 14 years, I was a middle school technology teacher at Amherst Middle School. And since 2012, I now am an online adjunct instructor at Canisius College. Did we hand out the information there?
All you have is cards left. So if you want Rob's card, it's
so
at the door.
On your way out the door, I have information, my contact information on a little card, and also information about our program at Canisius College. It's called the Education Technologies and Emerging Media Program. And it is 3 educators, myself, teacher from Clarence, and a teacher from Hamburg, that run the department at Canisius, fully online program. All of our semesters are 8 weeks, whereas everybody else is 14 weeks long. And you can go as little as 4 courses to get an advanced certificate, all the way through the full master's with New York State certification as an EdTech specialist. So we've been doing that since 2012. The program is growing exponentially, I think because you can do it so quickly with 8-week semesters, and the fact that it's fully online. You can work on it whenever you'd like. To facilitate that, we happen to use a tool that was mentioned earlier today called Edmodo. I am an Edmodo certified trainer and a heavy user of it since it started in 2008, and this becomes our platform to teach online courses. So little plug here for Edmodo and a little plug for Canisius. These are tools that I really can't live without, because as a classroom teacher in Amherst, this was my classroom. All the work, all the assignments, all the quizzes, all the posts I had to make, students and myself, everything was all archivable and findable that way. So little heads up on that there. So that is Edmodo, and you heard Schoology talked about it a little bit earlier. Those are 2 kind of similar things, as well as Google Classroom. I know some of you were talking about Google Classroom. That's another competitor product that's out there in the world for all of us to jump on and use at no cost. So great day to be in education, because you have so many tools available that are not something we have to pay to get into. So that's my 3 pieces there I wanted to cover. I'll leave it now to my co-presenter to introduce herself.
I love the glamour shot picture, so please just ignore that. I'm Elaine Seeger. I'm Rob's sister-in-law. We've been working together on the co-presentations of different technology pieces since we were in graduate school for our administrative degrees. When we were at Canisius, we used Angel Blackboard. If anyone knows those kind of platforms that you're putting all your assignments in, you're uploading everything to. And we really had to find a way to present our materials for our graduate work, because it was primarily an online-only class. So we had classmates and group members from all over the place, and we had to do combined presentations. Really challenging to do when you don't live in the same state or the same area. So we started getting into screencasting that way. We used Jing and a variety of other tools, and it just sort of accelerated our need to start flipping things and looking at different perspectives. I'm a speech-language pathologist, and I've used this in a different district that I worked in to do parent involvement. So we did a lot of videos for parents for techniques for their students for therapy. And they had to sign up through the district website and the district blog, and we would provide different things each student was working out with an individual login. So that was one of the ways I've used it in therapy. I'm currently in North Tonawanda City School District, and I've been working collaboratively with our department about how we can start putting more practice on the website. It's emerging, but it's trying to get people more involved in their children's active life. So.
And getting people involved is a great way. That's what Edmodo really helps for, because I had a lot of parents following along with the assignments and the upcoming quizzes and things that way. In fact, within the past year, they now have a new app, Edmodo for Parents, which is separate from the Edmodo app. So I know there's a few people in the audience here from the district I now work in, Oakfield-Alabama. We're going full bore with Edmodo this year as an option for teachers to try to use as a way to have a blended classroom. So it's the physical room in their room that they're used to, but also 24/7 online. The kids can have access to worksheets and documents and quizzes and screencast videos of you teaching and anything you want in your online platform. So tying to that is what we're talking about today, which is using gamification style tools, Socrative and Kahoot. So by a show of hands, how many have used Socrative before? All right, the game show style. How many have used Kahoot before? All right, I know you've seen Kahoot earlier. Saw? I don't know which way you say that. It was earlier today. The gentleman in the first session showed that. We're going to feature that towards the end of the session a little bit, because really there's not much to show. I'm going to have you take a Kahoot interactive game here where you're all competing against each other. But before Kahoot came out, many years before that was Socrative. That one's been around the longest. And I've been teaching that one probably for about 3 or 4 years now. And we're going to do a variety of different events. Some are going to be led by me, teacher-paced. Some will be led by you, so it's student-paced. Some of them will be game show style events where we have little rocket ships going across the screen. and we'll put you into groups, and you'll be working together to get your rocket ship to go across the screen faster. So I'll take you through the whole process of making and taking these types of interactive elements. So let's get a survey of the room. How many of you would classify yourselves as teachers? How many are school administrators? All right, any guidance counselors, support staff, special ed teachers, elementary teachers, middle school, high school? All right, good. So we got a good variety of people here. This will fit nicely in the first faculty meeting of the year too, these types of events. So keep that in mind. In fact, for Oakfield, I got to tell you guys some ideas I have here too. We'll get to that in context here. All right, so starting off with Socrative, the overview. They have a YouTube channel, which I recommend you go to if you're interested in learning more about very specific things that I'll kind of highlight over today. Especially the teacher dashboard, which gives you a nice view of like the analytics and things you can really break down the results and look for. So I have a link for it here too in the outline. That's why I wanted you guys to all have this outline so you have access to these links and you don't have to write anything down. The compatible devices that work is really anything at all that has a browser on it. So that could be nowadays a lot of Chromebooks are in schools, tablets, smartphones, laptops, desktops, even some of the cheaper e-readers that are under $100 now. I think I saw Walgreens sells one, and it has a browser on it so it can be used as long as Wi-Fi is being provided by the school, or if students have their own devices. Mine in middle school, a lot of them tended to have their own devices and they wanted to use that. It's a personal decision. As a classroom teacher, I allowed them to because we had established ground rules, which was, one of them was the glass down procedure. These all have glass screens. So when you say glass down, that means that. It's glass down. It's out of your hands. And you can't be like this either. You can't be holding it because kids would do that so they could pick it up quickly. But hands off, glass down. It's like having a fire drill. I call that and I watch them do that. And I tell them an administrator or another teacher might walk through the room at any time. And I want to prove to them that I've shown you guys how to do this. So when I call glass down, it's not, oh, let me finish that last thing. Let me finish. Okay, then I'll do it. It's got to be instantaneous because there are skeptics out there, usually administrators, that say, well, these things can be dangerous and distracting in the classrooms because students are going to be all involved in this thing and not with what's going on in the classroom. So if you can establish that glass down procedure and prove it to your administration, especially that's what I had to do, it's more likely going to fly in your building to allow kids to use their mobile devices, especially at high school. Middle school is iffy. Elementary school is another ball of wax. You have to figure out what works best in your culture. So that being said, so your device has to have a browser. If you have a device that could have Chrome on it as your browser, I prefer that. Sometimes though on Apple devices, Safari, the built-in browser, does happen to work better, especially when it comes to typing things in, we've noticed. So time for our first quiz right now. I'm going to make this teacher-paced so that I can lead you through each question, maybe have a little conversation around each question so we can treat it as a learning event as well. You're going to notice whenever I have you take one, there's these SOC codes. These are like serial numbers. I put that there because this is a code that you could use if you like my quiz that we're about to take. You could take that number, put it into your Socrative account, and it'll make a copy of the quiz for you. It won't mess around with my original copy. Mine will stay the same, but it's a quick way for you to duplicate somebody else's. And as you can imagine, there are plenty of teachers out there willing to share their Socrative quizzes. If someone was teaching on fractions and you wanted to use theirs, they can share with you that code, and now you have their copy with all the questions, all the pictures embedded within, all that stuff. So it's a really great thing to share across departments, even across different buildings or states. Yes?
If we do copy it, are we able to edit it for our use?
Yep. When you copy it, it's now a copy of your own. So you can do whatever you want. You rearrange questions, delete questions out, add questions in. You can totally modify it. So I will go to Socrative. We've heard Socrative. That's another, yeah, there's many different ways to say it, but from what I understand, they call it Socrative, like the Socrative method. You will see at the top student and teacher login. For today's purposes, I have to log in as the teacher account. Students do not have to create any kind of logins. That just brings them to a place where they can start taking quizzes. So they don't have to create usernames and passwords at all. It's a good thing to know, especially when you're dealing with younger kids, and you know it's usually a barrier of entry to have to do accounts. So if I still have everything memorized here,
you can see as Rob's logging in that it's a combination with Mastery Connect.
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone has his Common Cores on your phone, where it breaks down all of the different areas of Common Core and gives down the specifics that you need, this exact program has those where you can pull into your different quizzes.
Yes. What happened was about a year or two ago, Socrative was purchased by Mastery Connect by a big corporation, purchased a small little company. And I believe what they're going to do is eventually, I don't think it's there yet, have you be able to tag your questions with Common Core standards. I'm not sure if it's there yet, but that was the idea, so that someone could say, I want 2.5.R or whatever the case is, and then it would show you a whole host of them across the entire world of Socrative. So that's the eventual plan, I believe, from why they did that merger. So right now I'm going to start a quiz.
Can I say one thing real
Yes,
quick?
yes.
Where it says room up there, and you see it says Rob Z, if when you originally sign in, it's going to give you some code, but you can change that so it's easier. So when I used it with fifth
Right.
graders, they always knew when they went to this site that they just typed in my room name, which was Smith OA, and they had the quiz. So you have whatever quiz that you want up there, whatever thing that you want. So that's a lot easier than them typing in a random code.
Perfect. Because if you notice that up top here, it is customized for me. You are able to change it. And later I'll show you in some of my advanced pieces here how to change that. Because you're right, and some teachers don't realize you can change that.
Right.
And the kids are like, what? H5, 2, 4, it's very random and abstract. So now that I'm in on the teacher side of things, you guys are going to go in on the student side of things. So I don't even have to show you it. I can verbally say it because I think it's simple enough. You're going to go to the website on whatever you have, device you have, Socrative.com. So Socrative.com. And when you get there, you're going to say, I'm a student. You're all students in the room right now. And it will prompt you to type in, let's see, what does it go with first?
That's what I have to. Does it say the same thing that used to? Click on the little lines in the front.
Oh yeah, they changed it, yeah. They've updated the look of their website too. So you might have to hit the little 3 lines in the upper right-hand corner. And when you log in as a student, the first thing it asks for is enter the teacher's room code. So my room code right now is going to be Rob Z. I don't think capital letters matters, just with no space in there. ROBZ. And I can tell that 8 of you, 9, 10, are in the room right now because I see my little symbol up there that's showing me how many people are live in the room. And I haven't launched anything yet. That's why you're not going to be seeing anything beyond putting in your name. Or your room number, rather. And I mentioned I want to do this teacher paste. So I have some additional settings here. And I like how now they give you this, because people are wondering, what's the difference between all 3 of these? Now when you click on it, it tells you right here that the teacher controls the flow of questions. You send one question at a time, and you visualize the responses as they're happening. You are allowed to skip and revisit questions. So that means I'm in control here. I'm doing kind of a direct instruction thing, most likely because I want to have conversations around some of the questions that come out. Like if a lot of you get it wrong, at that time I know it's time for me to reteach something. So some additional settings. Disable student names. Nope, I want to get your names so that it populates it in the spreadsheet at the end so I can see results. I'm not going to bother randomizing. This would be helpful if we were maybe doing this multiple times and we don't want you to memorize patterns. And disable student feedback. I'll say no. You're going to see feedback after each question, so you'll know instantly if you got it right or wrong. By me putting it that way, you'll see your results instantly. So now that I started, you're going to see, you probably realize that I'm pulling this from another event that I did. Number 1 says, what's your experience with attending ISTE conferences?
First, what's your name? So put your name in.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The default is it always asks you, what's your name? That's the first question that comes up. You don't have to put that. As a teacher, you don't have to type that in as question 1. So when it does that, I always recommend my students use full first names and full last names, because a lot of times I am using this as a grade that goes in the grade book. So I want them to put in full first name, full last name, so it's easy for me to find the results there. Upon doing that, you'll be presented with question number 1. So this is a question from when I presented this at ISTE, so still treat it the same way. If it's the International Society for Technologies in Education. It's like the big organization you can join for educational technology across all disciplines.
So just pick anything.
So pick any one of those, A, B, C, D. And I can see just about all of you have your answers in. We're looking, there's 19 people in the room right now, in the virtual room I should say. And 1 more person to answer, and then we're all good. And see what I like to do, because there might be a right or wrong answer here, I tend to wait until I see this number here be 20 out of 20. There we go. So now I know everyone in the room has answered. Because if I reveal the answer, the one person that didn't answer, they go, "Ooh, it's B," and they hit the answer and then they get it right. So just keep that in mind if you're truly using it for a grading style event. So when we're ready to look at the results, we hit "How do we do?" It shows me right here, because this is not a right or wrong answer. This is an opinion-based one. You're not going to see it showing you which is right, which is wrong. It's just a survey-style question. So many people would say this is their first time at an ISTE event if we were there. Some people have gone a couple times. And that's how our results look there. Now, show explanation. If I had one typed in, this time I just put in a little sentence like that. It could be something to help reinforce what the right answer is. All right, so that is our first question. So I'm ready to go to next. And you should see on your screens pretty much instantaneously, right when I hit next. It should have popped up for you. And it's asking for what's your role in education. Now, when I did this at ISTE, I think there was like 180 some people in the room. So this goes to show you that you can use this tool in a way that would be hard for everyone to raise their hands and tally everything up. I mean, you could do it, but it would just take a while. This is a way of using technology to do something that would be more difficult if you didn't have the technology.
And this is a question you can build upon because you can answer more than one response for this. So if you have multiple things, you can add to that.
Right, and I think what I ended up doing is I marked, just to show what it looks like between right and wrong answers, I may have marked in that there was a right or wrong answer here. That's why we're seeing greens and reds. I forget which way I did it. But I just wanted to show you that if you make it not a survey question where it's a right or wrong answer, it'll show different color codes there. And so let's go to our next question. And ISTE was in Philadelphia. That's why I used a local landmark. Usually we get a couple of chuckles out in the audience with this one. And pretty quick. You guys are fast answering. Sometimes you got to wait for the audience. So you kind of delay a little bit or talk about something related to it while you're waiting for everyone to get in. And by the way, if someone walked in the room right now and wanted to join us, they could. They could jump right into the room and just pick up right where we began. So if maybe a kid's coming late from a music lesson, they can join in. And when you look at the results, it'll show their score won't be out of however many points. It'll be out of less points. So it helps you if you were going to use it for grading purposes. So there's our results right there. Very good. And of course, someone had to put Taco Bell. And that's that question. So next one up now is this. I did this one differently. This is a open-ended response. And you're going to type in possibly a 2-letter code or the name of the state. Either one is going to be considered an acceptable answer. Now I probably should do, let's see, hide answers. I'm doing hide answers. So as you are responding, I'm not showing. I can do this though. I can show names. So those of you that have answered, you can look up on the big screen and you can see your names showing up. But I'm hiding right now the responses so that nobody can cheat. And I believe in my explanation, did I do? Yes, I did see. Oh, that's giving away the
Use
answer.
immediate feedback on your own device if you were correct or incorrect.
Yes, because I turned that on. Before I launched this, I turned that on so that you guys got the instant feedback. Bless you. So now we can show the names of the people responding and the names of the state. Now look at how some of you typed in CO and you got it right, and you typed in Colorado and you got it right. In this case, you can specify in an open-ended response what would be marked as correct, and it could be multiple things. So that might be helpful in terms of, like, if it was a number question and someone typed in the spelled out, 25, TWENTYFIVE, or the number 2, the number 5. It would be helpful in that kind of scenario because it would allow for more than one right answer.
So you have to allow 2 right answers for that? Because I
Yes.
know when I did it, just for math, I didn't put a comma, or I did put the comma and the kids didn't put the comma and it marked it wrong. So that
Yeah,
does...
how is it? Is it separated by semicolon or colon or comma? We'll have to look when we build that question.
That is something too. Kind
Okay.
of know, because my kids were really upset that they got the
It
question
marked
right
it as
and
wrong.
marked it as wrong.
Yeah.
Just because there wasn't whatever way it was supposed to be.
You can enter as many differences and variables as you have.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
not sure how you separate them. We got to look and see if it's a comma or if it's a
I think it was
space.
I thought it was a semicolon.
Maybe it's a, yeah, I got to see how they did that. But the other thing I wanted to show here was at the bottom, yep, the explanation, you should have seen that when it popped up just to show you could use either one. And then I thought there was something else. So you get to put the picture in too. So I made sure I picked a picture that didn't give away the name of it there. Oh, and then if someone put in something inappropriate, let's just say for giggles here that Rebecca put something in inappropriate there, I could quickly do that. because as a teacher sometimes, maybe even with older kids especially, you might need to selectively hide and show certain ones. So on the right-hand column you have the ability to do that. You could say hide all the names, hide all the answers, and granularly show which is which.
So realistically, you should hide the answers until you had a chance to make sure
Right.
they were all appropriate, and then you can reveal them.
And I had the names shown up, so those of you after you answered could look up there and see if your answer made it through. You'd see your name there, but you just didn't see the response until everybody responded.
Can you see the answers without the kids seeing them to determine if they're
On the
appropriate
teacher
or
device?
not?
Yeah.
Well, later, yes. Right now, I'm looking at what you're all looking at, so this is what I can see. But later on, when I look at the spreadsheet of results, it'll lay it all out for me of how everyone responded.
Okay, so
Is that what you're looking for?
see it right away if it's inappropriate.
They would, yes. Yes, it would come up there. So you'd have to be watching it and quickly hide or show, you have to hit that button there. All right, so the next one is, let's see, is that my true-false one? Sometimes there's a little delay. If there's a delay, you are allowed to hit refresh, and hopefully like the Wi-Fi doesn't go down. I'm hoping that's not what happened here. Uh-oh.
That's not atypical at a technology conference to have
Yeah.
like the worst technology with the Wi-Fi.
All right, let's try it again. Hopefully it is not a system-wide type thing. We do have a plan B, though. I can always use my, oh yeah, it kicked me off of that Wi-Fi. There must have been a timeout for that. So let's switch to that one then. And what was it, Niagara, N-E-T-T? All right, and let's take us back to here. And I should still be in progress, right? Because it says live results. So we click on that. So that brings you back. It'll actually be a moving icon to show you that it's still running on your account. And let's go next then. All right, this one now is a true-false type of question. I did this one also to show you that you can take a really large picture. This was a really big, many pixels picture that I did a Google image search for. And it scales it down for you nicely, so it should fit on your screens out there in a nice fashion. And of course, we know that that is false, and it is Tim Berners-Lee that's credited for inventing the World Wide Web around 1989, the commercialized web that we all use. All right, so now I hit finish, and it asks me what we want to look at. We can get the report. It'll download it to as an Excel spreadsheet file that I could open locally. We could view the chart, which I like because it doesn't involve any downloading, or we could go back to our main menu. So if we view the chart, I can now look at the results this way. I can sort it by A to Z or Z to A. I can sort it by score or progress. And I can drill down to see the right and wrong answers. If I wanted to see something specific, like question 3, I click on that, and it takes me to there where I can see the results of how everyone did. Say back to the table, and now I can look at it all that way. So no downloading is needed. I can look at this all on screen. That's relatively new. It used to be where you could only download it and look at the results in Excel. So that's a nice feature there. So I'm done looking at that. Let's say we come back to that months down the road and we need to look at that result again. All of your results are automatically saved. Nothing special that you have to do to make that happen. When you go under, let's see where they changed it to now. When you go under Manage Quizzes, right, Manage Quizzes there, you can go to Reports, and it will show you all of your reports. I can say, show me all of them back to the beginning of time from when I've been doing this. And I can look at ones that are just, well, we haven't gotten to these yet, but space races and exit tickets, short answers. So it saves it all automatically. No extra steps needed by you. No limitations. It'll store as many of these as you have, so you'll never run out of space. So it's really great to be used as a formative assessment tool and not have to worry about forgetting to download something if you're going to end up using it for a grade later on. So next up is, where are we going here? A couple of recommendations if you want to see the uncondensed version of today's workshop. I'm doing this fast within 60 minutes, but I've presented at other conferences here, as you can see, in previous years. These are more of like the paid ticketed workshops, so you pay $200-300 to take. Nice thing is you don't have to do that. I record them like I'm recording this one today, and I have them up there where you can check them out. That's what a lot of our students at Canisius end up doing. I use these in the courses that I teach at Canisius to see the workshops that we teach like this, so that students have a context in it before they start using the tool with their students. Just to mention, the teacher sign-up procedure is less than 30 seconds on Socrative.com. If you haven't done it yet, you just go to teacher login, and I'm already logged in. But it would say, if you were not logged in, it would say email address, first name, last name, and your school level. And that's really it. There's no approval process that needs to take place. That means there's nothing to hold back a student from signing up as a fake teacher account. No big deal if they do that because they can't go anywhere, they can't connect with any other teachers or create any trouble. So anybody can create a teacher account to be able to make these. And I've had students do that. They told me that they're doing that so that they can make quizzes and have their friends take them, especially when they're at home and they do it all at 2 p.m. Saturday or something. Now, they can actually do that by making accounts and creating that.
One of the conferences we attended, there was an attendee who said she would create a little quiz for her kids every single day before they got the Wi-Fi password at their house.
Mm-hmm.
So she would say make sure that she did their homework the night before because she would pull something off of each piece of their homework before she would give them the Wi-Fi password. So she thought this was like the greatest thing ever because she's like, oh yeah, I use this for my kids at home.
All right, we're going to look at the 2 presentation modes. I'm breaking it down by what we call on the fly, which means there's no prep in advance. Just at the spur of the moment, you could create a question. There's good parts to that because there's no prep needed, but the bad part is you can only do 1 question at a time, and it does not grade anything or tally anything. So if you need it for grading purposes, this wouldn't work. But it's quick, so that's an advantage. The other side of that then we'll look at is standard mode, quiz mode. Then you can have multiple questions. You can do automatic grading. The results are recorded in your record book. But the disadvantage is it has to be prepared in advance, so you can't just do it spur of the moment type of thing. So for my spur of the moment thing, let's do a short answer example.
And I think the
Something with
advantage of the
voting.
on the fly is that if you're looking for student engagement, if kids are not responding to whatever your activity is or they need to take a break from something, it's quickly creating one of these. Or you can flip it around and have the student create the quiz if they're working in pairs so that they can type in a question, something from like a contextual reading piece that they've had. Okay, we read 3 chapters or 3 pages together. Let's pull out a couple questions and quiz your partner on. But this is one that's infrequently used. It's more as a quick, I need something to help me break up the day or help get the kids back on track.
So quick question. We go like that, and it says, what kind do you want? Let's say this time we're going to do, I'm going to do a short answer. So it's open-ended. And the question is going to be for you to type in your, and just one, your number 1 favorite app or website. App or website. Just one. All right. So did it come out for you guys?
No.
No? Okay, hold on. Oh, because I got hit start. That's right. I get, let's see. I'm going to say I want everybody to do this only once, so I'm not going to allow you to do multiples. And I don't care for your names at the moment, so I'll say it can be anonymous. Now I hit start. All right, so you should be prompted with a box to type in your response. And what I'm asking you for is your number 1 favorite app. We're doing a brainstorming session right now. So give me just one, not a list, but just one. And we're starting to see the results come in. I'm doing this as a 2-part thing. First part is a brainstorm. We're going to get you to say what your favorite selection here is.
Talk about how you can share the device for this too. So like if someone's done with it.
Yes.
Because not everybody
True.
has one-on-one devices, especially in the elementary.
I'll do that in the next batch, the next question, yep. All right, so I'm going to go another 10 seconds here, let you get your last minute things in. You will notice that some of these are repeats, especially I saw like Pinterest showed up more than once. But what we're going to do now is part 2 of this. Now that we've brainstormed, we're going to then have you vote on one that's up here that's not yours. So vote on somebody else's, and what's going to surface to the top are the ones that we all kind of feel the similar about. So this is like a way to brainstorm in general and then narrow down the focus based on popularity, if you will.
Can you just move the screen over so we can see all the words?
Yes.
We might just
There's
take
nothing
that.
I can do about that because that's part of the projector. Yeah, unless I can. Well, I'd
So
have
we
to
have
go.
Pandora, Flickr, Finger Roulette, Cartwheel,
Hang on, let me see if I can do
Instagram.
this.
There we go.
Go a little bit that way. All right, so I'm now going to go to part 2 of this question where it says start vote. So what now comes back to you is the ability to vote on one of these, and just one. Yeah.
That's not yours.
That's not yours. Vote on one that's not yours. And there will be some repeats, because I know Pinterest is up there more than once. And see what's happening now is in live in real time, it's rearranging them so that the top voted ones come to the top. I'm thinking of like having people use this in class to vote for like what question should be, first of all, generate a question for Friday's quiz. What would make sense based on what we've been learning this week? Kids will come up with a sample one, yep, and then vote on it. And then this could be one of the questions on there. So that way the students feel like they have ownership in the test they're going to take on Friday that's on new content that they just learned. You know, that's just one example. But it's a way to do a general brainstorm, get it all in a digital format, and then rank it. And so based on this, you'd have to take, if there was Pinterest here and somebody else at the bottom chose Pinterest, you'd add them up together. It used to show me the number. I don't know if it's showing, oh, there it is. It's showing a percent there. So we don't see the actual number, but we see the percent of people that chose those there. All right, so let me go back, see if can we see this if I go full screen like that? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to end that result so you can see that's a quick brainstorm and ranking type of activity. I'll go back to the dashboard. Now, in the event that we're going to do that again, but we only had, let's say, 7 or 8 devices in this room, and there's more than 7 or 8 people, I would do it this way. I would say number of responses could be unlimited. That way each device could be reused and reused and reused, and you can pass those devices around and everybody could share it. If I wanted to know who was saying what, I would say required, so that would prompt you to type in your name before you put in your response. Again, you have to trust the students are not faking this and putting their real names in, because they could put anything in, but it gives you at least something better than nothing if you've left that anonymous. So that was my, for purposes of time, I'll go back to the dashboard just to show you how to do that if you don't have one-to-one in your particular environment. Next up then is, let's move on to the standard quiz mode. That means I've prepared some things in advance, so I can't just do this on the fly. We're going to do our digital citizenship quiz right now, and how do I want to do this? Teacher paste. I'll do this teacher paste style. All right, so start quiz. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to do teacher paste. Disable student names, yes, I don't need your name, so I'll do that. Randomized order, I'll say yes. Let's pretend we've done this before and we don't want to memorize patterns. So we're going to randomize the order of the questions. And disable student feedback, no, I'll let you guys see the feedback. I'll let you know if you got it right or wrong right on the spot. So here's our first question coming out to you, I believe. They've improved it. It goes pretty quick now. It used to be you'd be like waiting and like now it would come out. So like over the years this has improved. All right, and I can see, based on my count here, I can see that more than half are in. All right, I'm gonna reveal, even though not everybody's answered yet, it could be dangerous because some of you will find the right answer. The right answer is B, your address. The other things are okay to share as long as you're not identifying something specific like an address. And notice there I did put in the picture too. It should have put that picture on your screens nice and clearly as well. All right, question number 2. See if you can get this one. Now also, we're doing this question after question, but what if I had a PowerPoint slides and I was showing you that, and in between slides, I'd come back to this, we'd do a question. And then go back to some more slides and videos and direct instruction, and then come back to another question. So you could intersperse them within your lessons. It doesn't have to be like this today, where I'm going question after question each time. So I hit how did we do to reveal it. You can see that it was very good. Universal, everybody got it right this time around. Next question for you. All right, and we're just about there. I'll hit the button so you can see it, and as those results come in, it actually dynamically changes the length of those bars there. And very good. Majority in the room have that correct. And keep in mind, this could be done before you teach the lesson, during a lesson, or after the lesson. I like doing this before the lesson, kind of as a primer to see where everyone understands things. That way I'm not spending 25 minutes in class talking about fishing when all the people are like, yeah, we got it, we can move on. Because I would know that by doing this before I taught that lesson. This one has to do about strange email messages. All right, just about all there. There's our results. And some of you are going to feel the right answer is giving your IT staff more work to do. So because it's email, simply delete it without opening it. If it's important that I put it in here, they'll probably send it again. That's the world that we live in, yes. Although, not always a bad idea to forward to IT staff. If I got that and I saw a lot of people sending the same thing, I would send out one mass email to everybody saying, hey, that thing about the Social Security numbers from the healthcare thing, disregard that or something like that. All right, and I think that was my last question, right? Yes, it was just a 4-question quiz. So now I hit finish. I could hit view chart, and we could see how everybody did. Again, I did not require you to put your names in. That's why it says anonymous here. But it just is a formative assessment. If I want to see, does the majority of the class get it? And I would say question 2, everybody pretty much has got that one. I don't have to worry about teaching that one. But it looks like this question here with only 44, I got to dive into that a little bit more. Excuse me, when I teach that part of the lesson. So I'll go now to exit. And next up is a student-paced example. This time around, so the math teachers in the room are going to have a slight advantage here. You're going to be in the driver's seat. I'm going to just watch as everybody takes it, and you're going to work at your own pace. So I'm going to do the math quiz and a student-paced example. So math quiz. And I'm going to allow you to be able to navigate back and forth, because maybe after you visited a question, you might say, hey, wait a minute, that one was wrong. Let me go back. This way we'll let you go back when I choose that option there. And then let's see. I'll say I don't need your names right now. We can randomize the question order and randomize the answer order, because some of you might have some wandering eyes and you might be looking to the left or right or in front of you. You can see other people's screens. So I don't want everyone to start question 1 simultaneously at the same time, because there could be a chance of people looking around. So we're going to randomize the order of the questions and the order of the answers. And now you shall be seeing them, and you're taking it at your own pace. So you go through it, and I can monitor to see how everyone's responding. And my gray shadowed boxes are showing me where everyone's at. So again, I made it anonymous, but if I had you type your names in, I'd be able to tell who's finished. Looks like about 5-6 people finished. Oh, and I see it puts a check mark when you're all done too. That's cool. That's something new. Yeah, so you can see up there on my answer key, when I see the check mark, that means that student has completed it.
Oh, that doesn't mean you got 100. It means that you've done 100% of the questions.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's your
your
progress,
progress
not your
through it,
grade.
yeah.
All right. Then this changes it then,
Yeah,
right?
that's the score.
All right, now we're looking at the score. That's right. So progress or score. So now we're
Progress is
looking at
just
score.
how many questions they've
Okay.
done throughout.
That's a newer feature too. I don't remember seeing that. And why is this orange? Oh, because that's a type-in one, that's why. All right, so I'll switch it back to score. We can see everybody's score there. We can switch it to progress and see how far along they are. If I say this, now you can see the answers from people across the board there. That could be dangerous, of course. Either turn off your projector if you're doing this in front of a class, or wait to show it until everybody's finished. But I think you get the idea. That way it was student-paced. I wasn't directing the flow of questions. You guys were answering them as it goes. That was only 4 questions. If this was a typical test in my class, I would have had probably 25 to 30 questions. Would have let it go most of the period. And that's a way of doing it without any bubble sheets, without any paper forms, and you have instant feedback when you leave the period that day. You know what you got as a score. You don't have to wait for responses if it's this kind of objectively done thing. So let's finish that. Move on to the next thing. And how are we doing on time? We have till 2:50, I think, here, right? Okay. Next up is the exit ticket. How many people have done a paper-based exit ticket out of their class before? All right, many teachers have done that. So this is now a digital version of that. And essentially what it is, it's a quiz that's a quiz template that they made for you, and they make it so that it's one button clickable. So I click on that, and it's going to prompt you for a number of preset questions. The first one I believe is going to be your name. It's going to be asking you for, so I can know who's responding. And then the questions come up for you one by one. How well did you understand today's material? You can consider this workshop. How well did you understand everything in this workshop? There's another one. What did you learn in today's class? That's so I know that you got what I wanted you to get from this workshop. And the third one is going to be, please answer the teacher's question. This is where I'd have on the board a question already. So my question to you is, will you use Socrative with students? You can say yes or no to that. So would you use Socrative with your students? That could be the question of the day that I have up on the board. Now it's showing is right or wrong because if it's an A, it's considered to be correct. So as a teacher, I can go through and look and see anyone that's got B's is really struggling with it. Maybe I need to see them again and help them out with something. Anyone that's responding with an A, they're claiming that they've got it, that they understand the concept. And I think we're at least halfway there. All right, so I'm going to move on just in the interest of time here. If there are questions, just let me know along the way. You can stop me at any time. All right, the next one I want to go with you guys is the space race. This is where we gamify it a little bit. And then after this, we're going to kind of jump right into Kahoot, so you can look at that again too. This time around, our science teachers, our chemistry teachers are going to be at a slight advantage here. How am I doing? Oh, I'm doing this as a space race. So I have to go from the main page here to this option, which says space race. I have to select the quiz in question. I'm going to do the one that's the periodic table. The number of teams. Now, teams mean people that are working together to try to get that little spaceship to move across the screen. You can do this a number of ways. You can see up there's up to 20 teams. But I want to have roughly, let's say, 3 people on a team. Based on this room, how many do you think we have? About 20-some people? I'll say let's go with 8 teams. Now I have a choice here, auto-assign or student select teams. This is a little tricky. I didn't understand this one at first. So auto-assign means Socrative will randomly choose who's on a team. So maybe this person, and that person all end up on a team. They don't really know it. They're unaware that they're on the same team unless they were looking at each other's screens and saw, oh, you have the purple line at the top, so I'm on the purple line too, so we're on the purple team. So they might not know it. That would be done in a way where you want kids to be randomly selected. Maybe you have high level, middle level, and low level kids and you just want to randomize it. The other way to do it is student select teams, where then it will prompt the student to pick a color. And me as a teacher, I'd walk around the room and say, okay, you're blue, blue, blue. You're red, 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 pink, 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 orange, orange, orange. And I would manually, using my knowledge of where everybody's at in the class, I would select the groups. So does that make sense? There's some cases where you want to control those selections and some where you just say, give me whatever. Spin the wheel and we'll take them randomly. So for today, since I don't know everybody's level, and let's say it's a brand new class, I'm just going to say auto-assign teams. So you will be automatically paired together with 2 other people in the room. So the team of 3 of you are trying to get the right answers. When you get a right answer, your little spaceship that'll be on the left here is going to go across to the right. For every right answer you do, it advances that little spaceship. So if nobody on the team is getting right answers, your little spaceship's going to be standing still. And there's no penalties either. It won't go backwards if you get things wrong. It'll only give you advancement if you are getting them right. All right, so that being said, we get to even choose what we have now. This they changed. It used to be just a rocket. So let's pick a B for fun. And hide student right wrong feedback. I don't remember seeing that before. Let's say no, we won't hide the feedback. Let's go to start. And you're going to see the questions pop up on your screen. I believe it's going to ask you for your name though, right? Did it do that? Okay, that's so that I as the teacher can figure out who responded which way later on.
I'm teal.
And you'll have kids do that.
Who else is the teal?
They'll say out loud, they'll say, oh, I'm on this team, I'm on that team, I'm on that. So you got to decide if you're okay with that. That may be distracting if it's a high stakes type of environment. But if it doesn't matter, you could even have kids relocate themselves to work together because maybe you want them to talk and say, let's figure it out. Which one do we think it is? Okay, let's all answer that. In fact, that might be how it works. Maybe everyone on the team has to get it right in order for an advancement to take place. So right now it's a tie between the magenta, lime, and blue teams. Teal is catching up. Ooh, peach just jumped ahead. Now I have to watch because it won't tell me which one got there first. So far it's magenta with a 2-way tie across the board there. Oh, now it could be the lime team. Could be the peach team. And I'm not sure if it's always going to go to the end. How do I know? Let's see. That may be, we may have maxed out. It might be whoever got to that spot first. Because you'll reach a point where there's no more questions to answer. Orange got it? All right, so the orange team got it. So now if I needed to, usually the question comes up, well, who was on the orange team? The teacher needs a way to see that. Well, the way I get to see that is if I finish and view chart, you might have to actually download this one in order to see that. So get report. I could take it as an Excel. Oh, I don't have Excel installed on this machine. Individual students, question specific. This is by question, this is by student. Let's go to download. This may not be a good thing for me to do here because on this laptop I don't have Excel installed. Let's see if it works though. It would be in there. How's it going to open for me? Oh, it does go for me. Okay. So the orange team, I can tell, would be Tara, Andrea, and just two? Maybe just two people. Yeah, okay, based on the numbers, I guess it doesn't always put 3 in there. And then as you can see, total scores listed, number of correct answers, and here's the breakdown by question. So it looks like a lot of people are good for hydrogen. A lot of people struggle with PB for element. And this goes, because it's a spreadsheet, I think I have to go to another tab to get more. But it would look more normal if you had Microsoft Excel installed. Or, as they're now giving you the option to, when you grab that report, you can take it to a Google Drive account. If you are, I think you have to be logged in with your Google Drive account. So that's a relatively new piece too. All right, so I'll exit out of that event, take us back to here, and we are now going to go to just the advanced features. I wanted to show you how to customize your room, clear the room, and share. We talked about sharing quizzes already. So up under settings, you would go to My Profile. And this is the spot here where you have, where's the, right there, the room name. If it's already taken, of course, it's not going to let you keep it. So try a different room name there that you want, and then click Submit and see if it takes it. Usually throwing some numbers or letters before or after your name would allow it to be unique. So that's one thing. The other thing is this one, Clear Room. There may be an instance, I'll do it now since we're all done taking quizzes here, where you guys are going to leave and the next period is going to come in, and they're going to use the exact same devices. Well, I don't want the next kid coming in to be using the login of somebody else, not really login, but account. So this, by me hitting that button, clears the room, and it makes sure that all of your devices are kicked out. So they're no longer signed into the room. And did that work? Did you guys see it then? Did say it just brought you back to the login page probably. So that's the way to ensure that the next class doesn't inherit the old class's information. Okay. So now moving on to the next piece is, you heard a little bit of it earlier today, the Kahoot. This is still relatively new. They even call it beta. It's not fully baked yet. Kahoot is experimental software that's being worked on, and they're letting the public use it, so it's known as a public beta. And Get Kahoot is where you go for it, because I think the name Kahoot.com was taken by somebody, so they registered the name GetKahoot.com. When we go there, now I'm going as from a teacher perspective. I'm going to sign in because I already have an account. You guys will not have to do any sign-ins. You'll see how you get involved with this. I have to do.
On the other program, when you clear the class, that information is still there for you, though. To go back.
Correct. Right. The results of how everyone did that is still there for
Every quiz you take has a number that corresponds to the quiz. So if you could see, like on his outline, it said quiz 167254. So he keeps all of those numbers in retention, but we just cleared out who was in there.
Right. All right. So I'm going to launch one that I've made already. I've done we're going to do the triangle quiz today. Actually, no, we're going to do what I used for my round 2 interview at Oakfield. Were you there for that?
My third time.
Okay, no, this is, yeah.
I'm gonna win.
This is her 3rd time taking this, so she's got a little advantage here. I'm going to hit play, and it's going to bring us to this page here now. Some options that I have. I want to display the game pin throughout, yes. In case someone were to walk in and wanted to join us, the code that you're going to need will always show in the bottom left-hand corner, so they have that on screen. I'll show the instructions how to log in. We'll randomize it because we have some people who have taken it before. Randomize the question choice order, and we'll even allow the music to play in the lobby. The advanced options I don't need. It has to do more with Wi-Fi information there. All right, so I'm ready to launch it. So you're going to see a code with instructions at the top. All right, so this is the instructions here. You're going to go to kahoot.it. That's the website to type in the bar. And the game pin is on screen. When it asks for your nickname, kids will say, oh, can I use a nickname? I always said no, use your real name, your first name and last name, because again, I might use it for a grade. But those that put in something inappropriate, okay, let's say somebody did, and if I didn't want Chicken Lady to be up there, I could, and see, it's hard to do right now because we're all moving because everybody's coming in, but I could click on it, it would then boot that person out, and then I could walk around the room and look to see who's got the red screen. Whoever has the red screen, that was Chicken Lady, because I kicked it out. So it's a way for the teacher to find out who was the person that did that. So, and students, of course, don't realize that. They're like wondering, why did my screen turn red? And they think, oh, did I do something wrong? So you have the ability now to click on any one of these names to boot them out. And let's go full screen with it so we can see mostly everything here. Now, at this point, I would walk around my classroom and I would count how many devices, how many people, and I'd know what number to look for. And then I would know when I could start. So let's just say we are all in. Even if you're not in, you could join in along the way. It's okay. And it takes you to the opening question. Here it comes. Now, you have to look up here for the question. You can't look at your device. The question is along the top. On your screen, you're only going to have
You only have
choices.
the color and the shape.
No, I didn't have that. That's experience.
Is it not working?
No, I got it now.
You got it now?
It said that.
So the time's going to run out. It'll stop automatically once everybody answered or when the time runs out, whichever comes first. Revealing our answer is the orange one there. There isn't one. This was a trick question. I can re-show you the image again, not that it matters. You don't really need that. And now here's the fun part. We get to see the rankings. So right now, Lori is in the top spot. And all of you in the room know what your current ranking is, because after every question, it tells you your current ranking. I think at the bottom of the screen, too, it's got it on there. And it will let you know where you are in relation to other people in the room. So in this group here, you probably don't all know each other. Is that correct, really? All right, imagine if you all did know each other and you saw each other every day on a daily, day-to-day basis. It's very hard for the teacher to talk at this point because they're pointing saying, hey, I'm going to beat you, 15 more points, and I'll beat you. And that excitement happens within the room. So be prepared for that. It's almost like you're asking for that to happen. You can't expect the room to be silent because kids are excited, and this is the engagement part of it. So always the theory is your eyes are looking up here, so your heads are up looking at the front of the room. Question goes up to the top. The sound, if you're listening, tells you how quickly people are responding. And if you haven't figured this out yet, the quicker you answer, the more points you're going to get. It's worth 1,000 points right at the beginning, and it's only worth 500 points at the very end. So the faster you respond, the more points you earn.
So you allowed access to 2 correct answers for this one.
Well, did I on that one? Yes. That one may have had, yes, you don't have to have just one right answer. You could have 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 right answers per question. So it's not necessarily one of them being the right answer. All right, that's right. That sometimes you let kids know that in advance so that they realize there may be more than one right choice here. All right, so Lori is still in that top spot. It always shows you the top 5 of no matter how many you have, it always shows you the top 5. And there's no limit to what I understand. Socrative might limit you down to about 100 or 150 people in a room. Here they said as many as you can fit on the Wi-Fi. And we did this for our Geography B assembly, which is in a middle school setting. There's 10 kids on stage and there's 700 kids in the audience. And those 700 kids are like, when's this over already? So this time we allowed them to bring their devices in. And about every 5 or 10 minutes or so, we would intersperse and say, okay, audience, now it's your turn. Pull out your device, answer the question on screen, and they would all respond doing Kahoot. And that was really neat, because when you have like 400 or 500 kids doing this, the responses come up much more excitingly than they are here with a small group. So consider that for those kinds of large-scale events where you can have everyone in the audience participating and having their opinions heard there that way. Questions right at the top then.
Slow network.
Yeah, sometimes you get slow network messages. I usually find it's more so if you're on Wi-Fi as compared to your cellular data. Cellular data tends to be more reliable. And by the way, you get to pick your own pictures. I put that picture in when I built the question, so if you don't put in a picture, you'll just see the Kahoot logo as a generic image.
Does this show you
Who voted for
I
which?
wasn't waiting.
Or
Yes.
just a gesture?
I will get a spreadsheet of results at the end, yes. Yep. You can hear that. Hear how quickly people are responding? That's auditory.
Yeah, it does switch your options.
What, the true and false?
The
you mean?
colors,
The left and right?
like the colors can go left, right, or right.
Oh,
left.
okay.
It doesn't necessarily always go true.
doesn't
on one
correspond?
side or on the other.
Okay. And that can be troubling for some people if they're used to seeing it go true, false instead of false, true. All right, Michelle is in the top spot now. I like the picture for this one. I did a Google image search for frustrated computer user. And notice I'm not stopping these questions. It automatically stops like that when everybody answers or when the time runs out, whichever happens first. So that's kind of nice that it does that. And this is false because a Google Doc can never be destroyed. You can always revert back to a previous edition. You don't have to remember saving it or anything. It just automatically is available. You can tell I'm a little bit biased here with these questions, right? I'm kind of favoring one tool over the other. And our final question? All right, that one's true. And how do we do? And majority got that one right. That's right. Never about, well, at home I have this version, and on the school computer I have this. How come it's not working? You get rid of that when you live in the world of Google Docs, which is a nice thing. Now, our congratulations goes to Michelle. Very good with her 5809 Kahoots. Now watch this. Coming out to you is the feedback mechanism. You're going to give it a star rating, rate it for the level of learning, if you'd recommend it to anybody else, and how you're currently feeling. The reason why is this is a public Kahoot, which someone else could grab onto. And if they were looking for, let's say, Google Docs questions, they might look at mine and say, oh, it looks like it is a 4.5, so maybe I'll go with that one. Or, oh, that's only a 1.2. People might not have liked that one. I won't copy that one. So it helps the public decide if they want to use your Kahoot. And when I go to final results, the question came up, can I get the results? Here you go. You can download as an Excel spreadsheet. Or I like this, download it as a Google spreadsheet. And this is new. Play again. If we were to play it again, if there was, what was there, about 20-some people in the room, there would be double that number because you would be playing against the ghost you. So now that you double the number there. So the theory is, if you got time in the class period, play it again, see if you can get a better score the second time through, and see if you can beat your old score, which is the ghost of you. And it'll show a ghost symbol next to you in the results and on your screen, so you would know if it was the current you or the old you. And that's a little gimmick they added, but I really like it because I saw the use for it. Especially when there's like, maybe 10 minutes left in the period, I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was going to happen. Let's play it again and see how we do that the second time through. And I think I'm done, right? Time's up. All right, so I am going to stop my recording now. And again,